Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Around the League. This is another update to our college sports conferences video, this one touching upon the Northeast Conference. Now, the Northeast Conference, I think, was one of the last ones we recorded in our first run of all of these conferences. A slight change has happened since that video came out, and I want to touch on it today. So, we're going to start with the westernmost of these schools, going and looking ahead of what the conference is going to look like in the year 2026, which at the moment is the furthest in the future that we have plans for the Northeastern Conference. There are currently, as of recording, 10 members. When this video goes live and the 2026 season begins, we will have 9 schools in this conference. The westernmost of these is in Chicago. If we zoom in on Chicago and we go all the way down to kind of where 94 splits here, we should be able to find the school known as Chicago State University. Chicago State, the green and white of the Chicago State Cougars, located there on the south side of Chicago. Kind of one of the outliers in terms of geography for this conference. All of the schools in this conference are going to be in the northeastern United States, with the exception, like I said, there of Chicago. But we work our way to the northeast, and let's start in Pennsylvania. We have one school in Pennsylvania now that St. Francis is moving down to the lower tiers of divisions in the NCAA, and the single school that remains in Pennsylvania is up in Erie. This is a school that made the jump from D2 a few years ago. This is the school known as Mercyhurst. So Mercyhurst University going to be on the southeastern side of Erie, Pennsylvania. The Mercyhurst Lakers, good hockey school. Couldn't tell you much about their other sports. Zoom out here. Let's go up to New York then. Quite a few schools in this conference in New York, and by quite a few, I mean 3. First one we're going to look at is in DeWitt, New York. So if we zoom in on upstate here, the town of DeWitt is located near Syracuse. So if we zoom in here on Syracuse, DeWitt is just going to be to the east of it. I zoomed in a little too far. Let's zoom out here and find the school known as Lemoyne College. Lemoyne College is going to be located right underneath the curve of Highway 5 here. Zoom in, and this is the school known as Lemoyne College. The Lemoyne Dolphins made the jump from D2 a few years ago as well. One of the newer schools to D1, not just in this conference, but in all of Division I sports in the NCAA as well. Zoom out here, we move towards New York City. 2 schools in kind of the New York City area. First one we're going to touch on is down on Staten Island. And this is the school I jokingly call Wagner College, of course, correctly pronounced in New York as Wagner College. So if we zoom in here next to kind of the Staten Island Zoo area and go to the southeast toward Fox Hills, the Wagner Seahawks call Staten Island home. I believe the only D1 school on Staten Island. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong there. Then the other school is kind of interesting because historically this school was split in 2. This is the school known as Long Island University. It had 2 campuses and still retains 2 campuses that used to be 2 separate schools. One is in Brooklyn and one is in Brookville. So if I zoom in on downtown Brooklyn, and I think what I'm really looking for is the Barclays Center. And it actually sits just to the northeast here. So if we zoom up here toward Fort Greene Park, this little square here, tiny little compact square in Brooklyn, is Long Island University, the Brooklyn campus. Now, of course, it is split between that and what is now considered the main campus over in the city of Post. So to find Post, we're going to go east and look for the city of Brookville. And I say city, of course, these are kind of townships when you get over to Long Island. But if you look at Old Westbury here, just to the east of Rosslyn, we should be able to find New York Institute of Technology, Long Island, and just to the northeast of that, LIU Post, or what is considered the primary campus of Long Island University. Historically, like I said, split into 2 colleges. The Brooklyn teams used to be called the Blackbirds. Now, of course, all the teams are located together and go by the name of the Long Island Sharks. Those are all the schools in New York here. We are going to then go to Connecticut. 2 schools in Connecticut, and if we zoom out here, the first one I want to touch on is in New Britain, Connecticut. So New Britain, Connecticut is going to be more to the north in the center of the state, which is aptly named because the university we are looking for in New Britain is Central Connecticut State University. So to look around here, Central Connecticut State going to be on the northern side of town. The Blue Devils, not to be confused with Duke, of course. I don't think most people would. This is kind of a lesser conference in terms of success in major D1 sports. Of course, it is an FCS school for any of these schools that do have football teams. And there is Errett Field, home of the Blue Devils football team there. CCSU in New Britain, Connecticut. The other one is in West Haven. So if we zoom out here and go back down toward the coast, West Haven is right west of New Haven. Zoom in here, and the school we're looking for is the University of New Haven. As of recording, this is the newest D1 school in Division I sports, the New Haven Chargers, the blue and yellow of UNH, located there in New Haven, Connecticut. Two more schools we haven't touched on. I did skip New Jersey. Let's go back down to New Jersey and look just to the west of New York for Teaneck, New Jersey. And Teaneck should be located just to the north of East Rutherford. There you find it kind of straight west across the bridge from the Bronx and the Harlem area. And here in Teaneck, over on the western side, we're looking for Fairleigh Dickinson University. As opposed to primarily Dickinson University, this is home to, of course, the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. Made a big run in the men's Division I basketball tournament as a 16th seed a few years ago. But beyond that, not necessarily known as a sports school. And then last but not least, up in Massachusetts is the school known as Stonehill College. And we are looking for Easton, Massachusetts. So if we zoom in here, Easton, Massachusetts is going to be located just to the west, or excuse me, the east of Foxborough. So find Foxborough just kind of near the point with Rhode Island, and then follow it to the southeast. There in Easton is going to be the school known as Stonehill. Another decent hockey school, college hockey, and find the school located just to the northeast. Stonehill College, the Stonehill Skyhawks. Those are all the schools that will make up the 2026 version of the Northeast Conference. I mentioned St. Francis of Pennsylvania is moving down to the lower tiers of college sports, and that is how the conference will look in 2026. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below. If there are other conferences you think we should update. Of course, we have done all of the Division I conferences in college sports, but there's plenty more to be found in both the folder for Around the League and plenty of other non-sports content on the channel as well. Whatever you pick, hope to see you back on the channel very, very soon.